So for this one, they want me to write it in radical form. Before I do that, I notice that I have two like bases being multiplied. When I multiply like bases, like back in the day when I did a squared times a to the third, I add my exponents. So over here, I want to add 1/3 plus 1/2. So I need to make a common denominator, which would be 6. 1/3 would be 2/6. 1/2 would be 3/6. So when I add my exponents, I get 3 to the 5/6 power. Now that I have it as just one power, I can write it in radical form, noting that the denominator is going to be my index. So this is going to be the 6th root of 3, and the numerator indicates the power to which I raise my answer. So raised to the 5th power. And that would be my final answer, the 6th root of 3 to the 5th. This one they want me to simplify. I still want to follow all of the same rules that I followed back when I was doing just integer exponents without the fraction, without the rational exponents. So having something outside the parentheses, I want to be Oprah, which means I want to distribute the power into both bases. When I give the power in, I have to multiply 3 times negative 1/3. 3 times negative 1/3 is really 3 over 1 times negative 3 over 1, negative 1 over 3, which ends up being negative 3 over 3, which is just negative 1. So this is going to be 2 to the negative 1 power times 7 to also the negative 1 power. And now I have two sad exponents. So to make them happy, I move them to the denominator. So I have 1/2 times 1/7, which gives me 1/14. Again, for this next one, I have to follow my typical rules of exponents, which tell me if I have a negative exponent, that to make it positive, I have to move it to the denominator, or essentially take the reciprocal. So this is 1 over 343 to the 2/3 power. And then I'm going to evaluate it using a radical expression. So the denominator of 3 tells me to take the cube root of 343. And then the numerator of 2 tells me to raise that to the 2nd power. This is all still in the denominator. The cube root of 343 is 7. So this is really 7 squared, which is 49. So 1/49 is my final simplified answer. For this one, there's two different ways that I could think about this. So I'm going to do it both ways, and you can pick the one that you prefer. I could start off by being Oprah, giving the power to both parts of the fraction, giving me 9 to the negative 1/2 over 16 to the negative 1/2, which gives me two sad exponents, meaning that I need to switch them to make both of them happy. So that gives me 16 to the 1/2 over 9 to the 1/2, which really means to take the square root of both, giving me 4 thirds. Another way that I can think about it is I can think of the negative exponent as meaning the reciprocal. So if I have 9/16 to the negative 1/2, that's really the reciprocal of positive 16/9 to the 1/2, which then tells me that I'm going to take the square root of 16/9, which is really the same as taking the square root of 16 and the square root of 9 separately, giving me 4 thirds. So either method is acceptable. You just pick the one that makes most sense to you.